Welcome everybody back to the DomCast episode 16. After a week off, we are here after this very interesting, probably once in a lifetime all-star experience or experiment. I should say, and we're back here with the Storyteller. Say what's up to the people. According to him, he's been sitting here for because you said you're always just sitting here waiting for us to come back, basically, and visit. So we, 2 weeks this time. He was he was wondering if people were still going to be interested. I speak for the audience. I think they will be, especially today because we got multiple interesting topics to talk about. But so not wasting any time, I think we're gonna go ahead while it's fresh on our minds because I think some of it will be kind of forgettable. We're gonna start off with All-Star, well, Sunday, I guess, because it wasn't really a weekend. We just had. I didn't look at all at the whatever happened with the celebrities. Did they have a celebrity event even this time? I saw a couple of things on Twitter. Were you keeping up with that at all?
I saw some of the 2-on-2 stuff from Saturday. That was pretty bleak.
Right,
it's the only stuff going on. I'll take it, but
right.
I'm interested in forgetting about it.
Yeah, I've only seen like the one highlight of, I believe it was Lil Baby hitting nothing but backboard on the free throw. I'm just like, that's crazy because I don't even imagine people who are on NBA Twitter troll accounts. I don't even imagine that they're that terrible. Like, it's just hard. I don't know. Maybe it comes to somebody who's played basketball like our whole lives, just recreationally or whatever level you played at. But it's like, how are you that terrible? I don't know. That's besides the point. Do you hate the Celebrity All-Star Game, by the way, as much as I do? I never even mentioned that. But do you like it? I don't know. Maybe you have a different perspective on it. The normal one that we do with Kevin Hart and all those things. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yes, I do. I genuinely hate the people when they're participating in it. And whenever I see somebody that I was a fan of participating in it, I just feel like they're, I don't know, yacht racing in front of me horribly. And the TV people are making me watch it. Like I don't. You're clearly you are connected and you're rich, so you get to put on a jersey and ball on a court before an all-star game, and we're supposed to care about it, like horribly too. Like
yeah.
I mean, some of them can play basketball, but like I don't know, just go down to the court, like go on your playground down the street, Justin Timberlake. Like, I don't care if you can step back. Guy from Munson Sons, like whatever.
Right. The only time, I mean, I'll admit, I did actually like the couple of times, relatively, compared to all the other celebrity games we've ever had. The ones that Kevin Hart was a part of, I found those tolerable. The rest of them, I can't tell it apart one year from another. We didn't see it this year. We had the competition that you mentioned that you may or may not have seen. But I'm glad that's gone. Like, that's one positive thing came from this weekend. We didn't have to waste time with an all-star celebrity game. Now, it'll be back. They'll be back. I hope not. You know, this weekend. This weekend is a great time where we can just get rid of some things because they experimented and they did some things that were good and some things that were not so good. But the things that worked, you can just keep those. Like last year, we kept the Kobe Bryant tradition All-Star game. I like that. It didn't really work out that well tonight, but I like it better. But there's some things we can adapt. We can evolve. Society has evolved past the need for a celebrity All-Star game. However, I saw your Twitter feed tonight. It looked like you were having fun. Amongst some of the things that you put on there, one that caught my mind or my attention, which we'll get to. We'll get to this because I wrote this down last minute. It says Marv Albert is what happens when you tie the underwear around your neck tighter than recommended. So I assume you have some Marv Albert thoughts like the rest of Twitter that we'll get to. But before we get to Marv Albert, what are your observations on our Sunday night All-Star experiment where we put everything into one? We had the skills challenge. Oh, that's the other thing you said. Yeah, I knew there was more. There are other things, but you also said that if you ever win a Taco Bell skills challenge, then that needs to be the opening line in your obituary. Seriously, it says everything about you. You're clearly a selfless person. So I guess we can mix those in, or we can get it, whatever. But your observations about this and the dunk contest, and we can just kind of go from there. What do you got?
So, none of this is jokes. Right? Some people just make jokes, right? But there's always, and this. We have a little bit of history now, right? We've talked a lot. There's sincerity behind everything that I put online, right? And Dom knows that there's sincerity in the Taco Bell skill challenge.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. Dom was on a little show that I did, and we talked about what it says about a person, basically, if they had won that versus winning the dunk contest or something like that. It's just such low stakes. And it's such a... It's a joke to some degree, but for people to go into it and go all out and actually care about it for that moment, and try to give it some sort of legitimacy and meaning for somebody who's a professional athlete, obviously one of only a few hundred people, and put their time into the Taco Bell skill challenge. I think it just says, it's like the people who don't want to enter the dunk contest, and players who just avoid all these opportunities to lose on a bigger stage. The Taco Bell skills challenge means nothing. It doesn't add to anything in your life. Nobody cares, but people show up and they try hard. So when you see somebody actually trying and they win and they hold that thing up and they put it in their house, it kind of just means that they understand the bigger picture, I think. Because nobody's like, damn, I have to win this. Like, this is it. This is gonna make me my career. So when they do, it means something beyond just the selfishness of, I need to be the winner and I need to dominate on all these traditional measurements. So that's what I think. I think over time we can give it some legitimacy. I feel like with the weight of Dom here, he could really. We just have to, maybe between now and next year, it could be the DomCast skills challenge. Well, we got to keep Taco Bell in there.
I like the vision. I like the vision there.
But it's just so meaningless and kind of silly that for professional athletes to care about it and win, and put their time into it. And I don't know if anybody actually did this. Was there anybody, because I didn't actually see it, was there anybody who showed up just to participate in the skills challenge?
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, I could tell by the way you that you didn't mention this guy after you said something at the beginning that I was like, okay, maybe he actually didn't. Yeah, no, Sabonis was really into it, man. Like Sabonis. Okay, I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be the one to tell you this, because it goes perfectly with what you just said. Sabonis showed up to shoot around that little top of the key shot. He showed up to shoot before the skills challenge, and he was lights out. Like, I think he made the first 3 rounds in a row. Like, he didn't miss until the finals. Like, no, he really went in. He I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know if he missed a pass. That first pass that you make, you throw in there, that chest pass. I don't know if he missed one. And yeah, I heard the commentator say it. They were like, he was out here before the game or before the challenge, right at the top of the key, the 3-pointer, and just shooting. And he eliminated everybody in one shot up until I believe it was him and Vooch at the end. And Vooch, his 3-pointer, actually might have helped Sabonis's go in. I don't remember if it was Vooch or not, but one of the contestants, they shot at the exact same time. And like Sabonis's ball was about to come out, and I believe it was Vooch. His ball kept it in because they shot at the same time, so it was kind of a self-own. But yeah, man, Sabonis. I by your description, I have no reason not to believe that Sabonis is a great person. Like, he's got to be a great person because he showed up for this thing, man. He did, and
Scared.
yeah, no, this was he dedicated a piece of himself to this, and I've never heard that. Everyone else was just kind of out there. Like, Chris Paul, as competitive as he is, he was all happy, go smiley, and he lost. Right. But yeah, no, Sabonis was into it. And then, so you didn't see the Sabonis interview afterwards either, did you?
Please, tell me what happened. There was a gap where I couldn't see it.
Nothing super special. I mean, it might have been a tidbit that ends up in one of your videos like years later, but it was just kind of an awkward interview. Like, he seemed a little bit. I know English isn't his. I don't know if it's his first language or not, but he seemed kind of like he had stage fright. And of course, I think it was Ali LaForce asking him the questions. The questions never mean anything. I'm sure you have like a whole thing about interviewer questions and the pointlessness, because she ended up asking him, like, the interview was just going on very awkwardly, and it was kind of like short answers. She was asking these very long questions, and he was just giving short answers, like, get me off of this mic. Like, he's the center of attention. He just wants to leave. And she asked, who's the trophy for? That question also kind of knocked me off too. I didn't really know what she meant by, like, who's the trophy for? Like, he's gonna give it to somebody.
Related to dad's grave.
Yeah, no. Arvidas is still with us, thankfully.
On the family tombstone.
Yeah, he was like, Yeah, yeah, it was a very off the wall question. I was like, who's it for? I guess she was trying to get him to say like, oh, it's for my family and everyone who supported me. I guess that's what she was trying to get
Right.
out of him, but it was just very awkward. But yeah, the
What are you
Sabonis.
supposed to say? Like all the victims of COVID? Like what are you
Yeah,
supposed to say?
I don't know. It was so weird. Yo, interviewer questions are the
Come on.
weirdest. Please tell me, because we can get to this in the Marv Albert section later. Did you at least hear Marv Albert and that whole? My bad. It was It was all three of them. Their interview was on Williams, and that was incredibly awkward. Did you have your audio on for that when he was on the bench and they were kind of talking?
Yes, I saw some of that.
Okay, yeah, because
I
that
saw some of
one
that.
that one was equally as awkward. There were a couple of awkward interviews in this one. I know I came on your show like a month and a half ago and said I could never tell you anything about the skills challenge, but I think the Domantas Sabonis Taco Bell skills challenge, I think I'm gonna remember this one. I think it did enough to make an imprint here. So the award is gaining some steam, I would say. Maybe we can't have it as the DomCast
If it's
skills
not,
challenge next
we're-
year.
Yeah, you gave it the Dom stamp of approval.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks.
You mentioned Ali LaForce, right? LaForce, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Forge or LaForce?
LaForce. Yeah.
That's a great name.
It's fire. Yeah.
She did something that was so subtle, and maybe it's just because I'm sensitive to anybody like attacking Steph Curry.
Oh,
He-
I know
gosh,
where this is going.
everything
Yep.
was so-
Yeah.
Please. What is it? Go take a guess.
Well, if it's what I saw Iguodala tweeting about the subtle shot, she took it. Well, he perceived it as a shot about his. Yeah, is that it?
Is it the? Please finish. Tell me what it is.
Did she ask him how does it feel to win like your second out of 7 tries? Was that the
Out of
comment?
7, yes.
I didn't hear it, so I read about it on Twitter when Iguodala tweeted about it. I didn't actually hear it myself.
I was taking notes during the part that I watched because I wanted to remember some of this little stuff for this discussion. And when she said, "How does it feel?" or something like to have your second win out of 7. It's like, what? Like
Yeah.
who frames it like that? This isn't a championship.
Right.
Why is it a new debate point that you're introducing? Nobody was thinking about 2 out of 7 for the 3-point contest, but now she's delivered it. She's handed it over, and now it'll be mentioned.
Yeah, because before I saw Iggy tweet about it, before she said it, I didn't know how many 3-point contests Steph had been in. As a matter of fact, I only remembered the other one where Joe Harris beat him. That was the only one I remember. So he's really been in 7? He's been in 7
I
3-point
thought it was
contests?
like 4.
Yeah,
Four, maybe.
I didn't have a clue, but continue. Yeah, that there was no point for that. I agree.
No, it immediately stood out, and I thought it's like it just felt like an improper framing of the 3-point contest, which is such. There's so many circumstances. The 3-point contest, it's not like a lot of other things. I mean, you're still dealing with people that at best are shooting 40-something%. I know there's nobody defending you, but you got the clock, and usually you have people screaming. So there's still other elements that are involved. You're not just in an open gym, as opposed to actually kind of are today. But even the best shooter, you're still dealing with less than 50% odds, usually. And you're not, even if you're the best shooter, you're not automatically going to win this thing, because all it takes is for one guy to get hot for 2 rounds.
Exactly.
So 2 out of 7 was it just felt like such a little poke, little shot. Right?
Yeah, and Steph is too nice to point something like that out, or maybe he just doesn't even care because he's ascended like past human levels at this point. So maybe it didn't even phase him. Maybe just like brushed it right off. But I was thinking the same thing though coming into the 3-point contest. I was watching it with my family and my brother, and my little brother's like, he doesn't really watch basketball that much. He just he's around me, so he has little bits of knowledge. But he's like, oh yeah, Steph Curry is not allowed to lose this contest. He can't lose this contest because he knows Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time, of course. But I was telling him, I was like, oh no, he lost to Joe Harris. Whatever year that was. I'm like, Joe Harris just looks like he probably went home and read a book after he did that. It's nothing really that special about him. This isn't that type of contest where it's like you have Curry and KD and it's gonna be like it is on the court. This thing could go south. But I bring that up to ask, like, was there anything? Because I don't think about the 3-point contest that much. Growing up, it's always really like the dunk contest for me. Maybe some All-Star game moments. I really don't remember 3-point contests. It's like it's definitely more important than the skills challenge, but in terms of like me not remembering things about it, the 3-point contest is probably a step above. However, was there anything special to you about Steph tonight in the All-Star game and the way he did this 3-point contest, because to me, there's this underlying story here where Mike Conley comes in, and this is his first All-Star event, like the kid in the candy shop, just bright-eyed. I saw that he liked the tweet about how he was going to be sleeping before the All-Star event. Like, he's just happy to be here. And he comes in, and for a second looks like he is going to, on a one-on-one, beat the GOAT shooter. And then Steph, and it looked that way because not only was Mike Conley like really on fire tonight, Curry goes in and misses like the first 4, I believe, at that rack. And then almost deliberately, it looked like beat him by 1 point. And this is, I thought it was Conley's moment. I thought this is finally where we shower Conley with all the praise over the years of not being an all-star and all the years with the Grizzlies that he deserved it. And this is his moment. And Steph just came and effortlessly took it. I don't know. It seems special to me, but maybe I'm reading into it. I know I saw you tweet about Steph Curry tonight, just making basketball fun. So if you have things on Steph Curry tonight, if you had thoughts, I'd definitely be interested.
It's just amazing because I feel like I don't fully understand. I think we talked about this at some point before. The idea that because Steph Curry's not a giant person, he can't just bully his way in and get a couple easy buckets, just to get going or whatever it is. He can't just go in and just get fouled under the basket, real easy. It's hard. It's easy to forget why he's so dominant, why he's so great. And I was watching the game. Actually, with the Warriors, he basically. It's really interesting if you just watch him. I know a lot of people do. Every play, just watch him and watch anyone else. He may not have the ball in his hand, and a lot of people criticize him. They don't call him. Don't want him to be called a point guard because Draymond Green handles the ball more often or averages more assists. But he's directing everybody.
Yeah.
He's literally just pointing. Hey, you go here. You go here. You go here. He's pointing who to pass to. It's pretty amazing if you just watch him. He's just directing everybody off ball. I mean, you see like some great point guards. You'll see Chris Paul. He's dribbling up the court, and he'll point to somebody or say, "Go that way" or this. But he's doing all this without the ball in his hand. And he was doing that in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
He was running the court, and he was, he was moving. He wasn't moving as much as he usually does. He was pointing, telling people, "Go here, pass here, go that way." And I forgot who it was, but it was, I think it was Dame. Yeah, like he was like pointing. He's like, "Dame, get to the corner, get over there." And then he cleared out and just opened the whole court up for Dame to do something. And man, he's really like just an unconscious leader, just blatantly a leader. And it's hard to, if you're not just driving and dunking on somebody, it's hard to see, to just from scratch recognize why he's so dominant. So tonight, watching him do that and just the comfort he has, and I feel like he was more comfortable. He's been in a lot of All-Star games. He's one of those players up until now that just kind of shows up, maybe hits a couple shots, doesn't demand the ball, and doesn't have that blanket selfishness like a Russell Westbrook would, or even a LeBron James at some point. Tonight, LeBron James realized he wasn't going to get the MVP really early and decided that he shouldn't play anymore. That's what I believe happened. He just says, I'm not going to, listen, I'm just going to make it look like I don't want to play, let the guys play, after he kind of blew it the first quarter. So with Steph Curry, it just looked like he finally arrived at this all-star moment as if he knew he's the best player, or he could be the best player. And of course his shot was falling and everything like that. But watching him do that, I really appreciated what he was doing. And it's when you are a three-point shooter, sometimes you're not gonna make your shots. And if you're missing a few shots in the beginning of the All-Star game, you lost your opportunity. Or if you're missing your shots in the three-point contest, you're not gonna win. It's tough when you're banking your whole success on such a long shot. When it goes in, the man just transcends everything. It's ridiculous. And it feels almost like as other people hit three-pointers, other people are hitting shots, but there's just something different about when his shots go in that just brings joy and excitement, and people start, it's like giddiness. And you see it around, you see with the other players, it just elevates the game, and it becomes a Steph Curry game. So once it becomes a Steph Curry game, that's it. Like, he just puts his stamp on it. And I don't know if there's really any other player that kind of does that. It's just amazing. It's amazing. I don't know why it is, and I think it's because every game he has to reintroduce himself about why he's dominant. Because every time he pulls up from 30 plus feet and he hits a shot, it's just amazing. I don't care how many times he does it. He can do it 12 times before the game. He can do it 15 times in a row in a practice. But when he does it and we see it all on national TV, it just sparks our excitement more than almost any other thing. And that's just special. And it's special because it comes in that package, that small package. And then he dunked.
Yeah.
Call it an alley?
Yeah, absolutely.
I bet you talked to him, I bet that was the highlight of his night.
Yeah.
His night, I bet Klay Thompson was juiced about that. Like, there's such dunk envy with Steph Curry. All he wants to dunk. I've said this before. If he could trade 5% of his 3-point accuracy for like 3 poster dunks a year, he would do it.
Think so? You think it ranks that high? Yeah.
A whole video about the fact he can't dunk. He wants to dunk.
Yeah.
He wants dunks like on people so bad. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why he doesn't try. I mean, I know why he doesn't try, because he's not good at it. But it's that weird combination that just is a reintroduction of greatness every time we see him do it. We're like, well, this guy did something amazing last time. There's no way he can do it again, and he does it again. Right. He's notorious also for just one random day he shoots 1 for 10.
Absolutely.
You know, that's kind of his thing. Or it's becoming quite annoying because he'll do this, and this is really his thing. He'll go like 5 for 6 or 6 for 7 in the first half, and then 1 for 8 in the second half. And then he ends with a great, shooting over 40%. But it's just so streaky, and it's just an odd situation. I don't really see much players quite like that. But he really brings joy and fun into it, and everybody around him. It's amazing. All right, that was a long answer. Me and my friend talked about that once upon a podcast a long time ago about how Curry, we know he's the greatest shooter, and we watch these games that he takes over, and then you'll look at the box one night, and he'll have a night like you just talked about where it's just really random, like 2 for 10 of something, but you never question it because that just speaks to his greatness. You never question if he has that night. Doesn't matter. You forget about it a week later, or he does something that makes you forget about it. Back to the topics of him dunking. Did all 3 tiny players get a dunk tonight? I know Chris Paul got one, Steph got one. Did Kyrie have one, or am I having a false memory? I don't know if he had one tonight. I don't think he did. So.
Yeah, I think he did. I'll go back and watch the highlights, whatever. I'm pretty sure he did. But I just found that funny. First of all, I think that might be the first Steph alley I've seen. He might have had another alley-oop in another All-Star game before, but they're really rare.
He's thrown
No?
Chris Paul had one a couple years back.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, so Steph...
I appreciate that.
Yeah, small players are never going to pass up the opportunity. Maybe you're right about them trading in a little bit of efficiency to be able to dunk, because small players are not going to pass up the opportunity to show you that they can, because we forget that, especially when you play with them in video games and you're on a wide open fast break and you try as hard as you can to dunk, but they just lay it up. I think subconsciously that does something to you. We're like, oh, I forgot these guys they're all like 6 feet and they can easily dunk on a regular day. And the reason this is funny, this is being brought up, is because I was just making a video about the 2000s finals teams and finals MVPs, and I come across a video of Chauncey Billups on a fast break in the finals, and he dunks, and I'm like, holy shit, Chauncey Billups dunked once upon a time, because my whole life you see Chauncey Billups shooting, laying it up, very unathletic things. And I'm like, yeah, you forget, maybe what was Billups, 6 feet, 6'2", I don't know, but dunking is really, really easy for him. It's not like me. It's not like me under 6 feet, and I have to, extend everything in my being to be able to get up there. But yeah, I found that one.
You dunked?
Let's say what?
Have you dunked?
I've gotten very, very close, and it's on camera. Like, I've got one of those. I might have posted it on Twitter one time. Maybe I haven't. So 10 odd years ago. Yeah, it's around 2011 or whatever. I get up there, and I get the ball over the rim, and I grab the rim. The ball comes loose from my hand, and the ball pops around in the rim, the backboard, and it goes in. So I have like I have like 30% of a dunk or whatever that counts for. Yeah, it's one of those, and that's as close as I've been because I've always been more of a weightlifter and whatnot. So I can lift your weight. I can deadlift and I can squat for you and all that. But actually, getting up there and doing an Anthony Simons, grabbing the basketball from the top of the square, I don't think that's gonna happen. Honestly, I'm not winning any dunk contests. But back on the topic of Steph Curry, no. This being a special night, first of all, like you said, yeah, you said something about him being very comfortable. I don't know if he's ever turned around in an All-Star game while he shot a three. And that's a really interesting thing. That's always an interesting thing to me because the level of trust that you have to have in everything in that moment to be able to do that. Like I always thought about Gilbert Arenas turning around when he used to hit game winners. And it's like you are going to turn into a perennial joke, maybe not your whole career, but that moment, you will never live that moment down. Like Nick Young. Hell, it wasn't even a game winner. Nick Young, the one turnaround miss that he had. It's a GIF now. It's a GIF. It's a meme. It's going to be on there forever. But it's Nick Young, so we kind of give that a pass. That's part of his persona. But if you're like a Gilbert Arenas or you're a Steph and you have this as part of your brand, you cannot turn around at an important moment and miss. And so as far as I know, Gilbert never did. Maybe I missed it, but I don't think Gilbert ever did miss when he did that. And Steph did that tonight, and he was so sure it was good. It was from the same corner that he won the three-point contest on, and he turned around very confident it didn't touch anything. And so that was a special moment. And I noticed particularly during the three-point contest, again, not only we'll have to do a deep dive one day and see if he deliberately missed those four, just to give Conley a little bit of hope before crushing it, because Steph might smile and might be like God's child and everything, but he still has an ego. Every player that's good has an ego. And so I don't know about this one. But there was moments where he goes out to the Sprite three-point balls, the ones that are at the hash mark. And every other player had to get like set for that. And you could tell that there was a little something different in mechanic getting that up. But you go out there and Steph almost seemed a little bit more comfortable at those threes than he did on the rest of them. He just grabs it, he's like, and just on to the next one. And so, yeah, it was there was just a lot of, that's why I tweeted that out tonight. I was like, you could have been born at any moment in human history, but you were born at this little small slice of time with Steph, and in this sport where nobody's ever shot like this. And then him and Dame did a little half court. They had a little half court moment where they took turns back to back shooting from half fucking court. That's ridiculous. It was half court, not the T on the All-Stars, not the S on the All-Stars, not the hash mark. They walked up from half, which really makes me question what exactly is the limits of their range, because obviously within games they're not going to do that. We're not at that moment yet where guys can calmly pull up from the half line. I don't know how many years we are away from that. I assume we're getting there, but nobody's stepping up at the half line yet. They're still logo shots. But I really wonder, like, where exactly is their limit, because they look like they could pull a little bit further. I don't know.
Well, I feel like they figured out where the strength has to come from in order to get those shots up, which is fairly new. I mean, fairly new meaning, obviously their development. But so you're nailing it on the head so many different ways. Caveat: the logo. Have we talked about the logo? Shooting from the logo concept?
No, that's a new one.
Okay. All right, I'll try to introduce it. We recorded this pretty late, if people don't know that, but I'll try to get this out. As a NBA announcer, right, play-by-play guy, there's, I don't know, 6 or 7 golden, plays where all you have to do is say the name of it, and it generates excitement. Whether it's somebody who gets dunked on, like an actually getting dunked on, somebody getting crossed over, somebody falling down or something like that. Game winners, buzzer beaters. But from the logo, just that quote, from the logo, is something that is extremely pervasive, and it's everywhere, right? It's slightly manufactured because the logos are so huge now, right? So you weren't able to say from the logo, I don't know, 20 years ago, because the logo was right around that little center circle. You know, these logos extend so far now.
True.
And even if you're just on the edge of that paint, whatever it is, the nugget into the nuggets, S, whatever it is, even if there's no reason for a logo to be that big. The announcer still gets to invoke the term from the logo.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just the term from the logo triggers something in us to be like, that's amazing. That's amazing. It's kind of like when these players get crossed over and they fall down, but it's really because the guy kind of pushed them. They do that move where they stop and they kind of push off, and the person flies away or falls down. And it's kind of artificial, but they still get the credit for making them fall down, right? And everybody's in on it. The announcers, the way they frame it, and from the logo, I feel it's not. I'm not being conspiratorial here, but it's another way to juice the game, right? To be able to say LeBron from the logo, even though it's the biggest logo that's ever existed, it extends to 28, like 5 feet, 3 or 4 feet away from the 3-point line. They still get to say it, and it's like that Pavlovian dog thing, like the bell, It automatically makes us think this was an amazing thing. So saw a lot of that in the bubble, because the bubble logo was huge.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's a weird thing. The whole half court has been preserved though, because you can't extend the half court line. So when these guys are pulling up from half court, that's pure. From the logo's been diluted quite a bit, and I feel like we need to come to terms with this and maybe have some sort of like reckoning with the logos. So there's that. But half court, pulling it from half court like these guys did, I thought they were really doubling down on their ability. And they're like, no, we're not just shooting from this large ass logo that goes all the way to the free throw line. We are shooting from half court, which will always be half court, and it's pure. So when you hear from half court, that's something that I feel like we can really get excited about. And that I was so happy when Dame made the shot, because he looked kind of stupid when he shot the first one. He looked silly. He missed the first one, and I was like, oh. Because clearly he was trying to, get in on it. Steph had hit some crazy shots, and he wanted to pull it from half court. He missed. Then what happened? Did Steph hit the first one, and then Dame came back and hit one after that?
Dame did it first. So he took the first one, and I think Steph came right after him and pulled. And then on the replay, they only showed Steph, so I took note of that. They did not show Damian Lillard.
Oh yeah, because Marv Albert was just he was just out of his mind at that point. He doesn't recognize him.
Right.
Light-skinned short guy from another.
Yeah. No, I think there's absolutely power in what Dame and Steph did with that half court shot, because nobody can come in and be the imposter, like you said, with the logos being as long as they are. Nobody, you can be an imposter with those. You can. I hadn't really thought about it much, because a far shot seems like a far shot, and it's gonna be on the highlights forever, and we're all gonna say, "Damn, that's far," and it is still pretty far. But I would feel comfortable in saying that those two guys are probably the only ones that could consistently step from the half court line and hit nothing but net. Because LeBron's got all this power, and he can take logo shots sometimes, but I think Steph and Dame own the half court shot though. I don't see anybody effortlessly. Anybody else, and that's powerful when you're on a court full of 20 other all-stars and superstar players. You absolutely. Well, you're the only two that you can say we're the only two here that can do that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot, and the fact that they did it back to back. It was a power show, man. It's a power show. These egos.
Oh, it was beautiful. I mean, it's unfortunate that the announcers blew it and they didn't frame it properly. I mean, this is something that I'd love. Maybe you can help me with this at some point. But I'm trying to work on. I need to talk to some announcers. I need to talk to some legitimate play-by-play people, so I just want to dive into what they do, because when you're handed these moments, these great, all-time great moments, and this is an all-time great all-star moment, those back-to-back half-court shots, and even back-to-back little guy dunks, alley-oop. It's like, if you aren't framing it perfectly as an announcer to be chopped up and put into montage after montage for the next 50 years with the perfect little, soundbite describing it, so people can understand just within that clip what happened and how amazing it was. You're not doing your job, and you're doing a real disservice to basketball. And on top of that, we don't have the incredible crowd noise. We don't have the shots of the crowd going nuts. So there's no supporting atmosphere. It's so important that these announcers are contextualizing how amazing things are. And Marv and the crew blew it. They blew it. It's unfortunate. We're going to have to get some sort of retcon there with some international announcer. We'll have to get their feed and see how great they did it, or some, I don't know, whoever else is calling it on, I don't know, Sirius Radio or some crap like that, where it's like they nailed it. And it's like, that's the clip, that's the sound we're going to attach to this clip forever. Marv did not do it, and it's pretty unfortunate.
All right, so after that quick pause, we are definitely going to come back to announcers, because I have some questions for you about like Chris Webber, Reggie Miller, and Marv Albert. Yeah, the whole crew was here tonight. But in the interest of being a little bit linear here, let's go to the dunk contest, because that was an interesting thing. They had to shove it into halftime of the game this year. There were 3 contestants when there are normally, I don't have the number in my head, but I feel like the dunk contest absolutely needs that room for error that we normally have. We normally have whatever dunk contest that was, where we had Giannis, and then we had, for whatever reason, I think we had a Plumlee brother there. We had Drummond. You need a you need a room for error, I think, because at this point, it's just so difficult to do things that are going to impress people. And they made an effort, I think, with the judging after what happened last year. They made an effort to have knowledgeable people judging. I think they were all dunkers or dunk contest winners, whoever they had. They had Dominique Wilkins, Spud Webb. They had people who were, we feel like we could trust their judgment. But
I don't think it's Dominique Wilkins.
Okay, that sounds like something we need to get to. Absolutely. He said that one with conviction. So I'll write that down. But okay. Well, questionable dunk contestant. Yeah. Questionable dunk contestant judgment aside, it's difficult because when you have like Stanley comes out with a dunk that is clearly fire, and people felt like it was underrated. And I don't think, first of all, I don't think there was any way that anybody could come to a consensus on the dunk contest rating. I think everybody would be unhappy whether it was rated high or was rated too low, whatever. But yeah, the Stanley dunk was awesome, but it also just feels like a variation of something we've seen a million times. The under the legs has been done almost every which way. It was to the point where I don't know who would agree or disagree. It seemed like the timeline thought that Stanley's first dunk was better than Toppin's. I liked Toppin's better. I did, because I felt like it was at least a creative spin under the legs that you don't see every single time. Everyone opens with some sort of a windmill or an under the legs. There's Toppin, who's a big man, comes out and dribbles the ball under his legs and then catches it and then dunks it. And he did it in a way that when it first happened, it didn't even look amazing to me. It wasn't even amazing until I went into the replay and I saw, oh, he actually did go under the legs. I couldn't really see that in real time. So either way, after I thought we were in for something then, because I thought both of them had done something pretty cool. I think it lost steam very quickly after that, because both of those were one attempt dunks. Of course, the attempts came in. There's the fact that a lot of people don't know these guys unless you actually follow basketball, then you do. But I feel like that's been taking flair out of the dunk contest for a long time, is the contestants not being actual all-stars. I feel like that's kind of important. But somewhere along the 2010s, we lost that element. And now it's relegated. I don't know. It feels like this is almost like the natural death of the dunk contest. Because every now and then we have these people that we believe are saviors come in. Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon were saviors the last couple of years of how many every times they did it. Those were 2016 is still one of the best ones ever. I believe Aaron Gordon was in it last year. I can't 100% remember. But they seemed like saviors. We're like, oh, the dunk contest is saved. They're going to be here forever. Newsflash, they're not. They're going to come in for a year or two, and then they're going to leave us with the Anthony Simons of the world and the Obi Toppins. Yeah. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, the dunk contest is not salvageable. And so now it's relegated to this halftime show, which I don't know if they're gonna run with in the next years or so, whatever. But I've always been a proponent of. I get it, it's tradition, and we have all these moments, and Vince Carter and Michael Jordan, but maybe it has. I don't want to say after we just had Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, maybe it's run its course because those were amazing. But when we have dunk contests like these, you start to realize it it shows a little bit of life every other year, or maybe 2 years in a row. It shows a little bit of life, and then it dies again. And so if this is the where it's going to be relegated to at halftime, it's just going to be a couple of people, and we're going to get back to whatever's going on in the All-Star game, or if it's going to be replaced. I would have loved to see the dunk contest replaced, but obviously guys aren't into playing one-on-one or three-on-three or whatever because of their brand, so I don't have high hopes for it. But I don't know, the dunk contest, it long story short, it sucked tonight. It sucked. It did. I didn't have fun with it. But I'd like to know your thoughts on dunk contests in general, this dunk contest, and if you are an advocate of just letting it, relegating it to halftime until it naturally dies and we replace it with something else, which is also not going to happen. But I don't know. What do you?
Naturally dies until it dies of natural causes, right?
Yeah, because I feel like we're seeing it. The first, the All Stars stop participating, and then it's a halftime show, and then next thing you know, they're playing one-on-one. Hope that'd be the great thing, but I don't know.
I got a few years on you, not a ton. I'd say we have a lot of common experiences, but I definitely have some more aware years, but not more knowledge, but I'm just saying a little further.
Yeah, I got you. You've seen more.
Dunk contest is always dying.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember? You remember when people used to die of natural causes all the time? Was that a thing when you were younger? Like, great grandma died of natural causes in her sleep in bed at home.
Yeah. I've seen it here and there. Yeah.
That's not like they died of like heart disease. That's what they died of. Like that's what. Heart disease is the number one killer. They died because their heart broke. Like it's not natural causes.
Right.
Yeah, that's just the thing that I've thought about. Like they used to always like whenever they wanted to make it seem, she died natural causes. Like being crushed by a piano, like natural causes, like natural.
Yeah, that was a culprit.
Yes, something went wrong. Something happened. Explain it. Like there's a scientific or medical reason. It's not called natural.
Right.
Anyway, I don't feel like you don't hear that as much anymore because we have more information about how these things work. This is not an articulate or an artful way of segueing to the dunk contest. I'm mad that they tried to say people died of natural causes. Years they tried to pull that shit off. Anyway. Okay. Dunk contest, and this is the conclusion. This is what I've come to. It needs to suck. Like 3 years in a row. 3-4 years. Because then we get something amazing and we all it's like a drug addict who can't get any, because then when something is good, we hold it in such regard and we love it, we cherish it, we praise it, we say how wonderful it is, and we just bask in that moment, of Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine. But we can't have that every year, because then when it is great, we wouldn't appreciate it. So it's gotta suck. I feel like it's built into it. Obviously, that could change if stars were getting into it, and I don't know how you remedy that. I don't know how they fix that. But Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine weren't stars when they brought the greatest show to us.
Right.
And I still think that was the best dunk contest ever. The first one, when Aaron Gordon was jumping over the mascot. Not the other ones that he participated in. The Dr. J and the Michael Jordan ones and Dominique Wilkins ones, those all sucked.
Really?
Sucked. Relevant, and they were good for the time. Anybody holding those up as the greatest display of dunks, those were horrible, and there was such a lack of creativity. I mean, it really wasn't good comparatively. So there's no comparison in terms of if you just having no information watched a Michael Jordan 1985 dunk contest versus Dominique Wilkins. and anything from the past 20 years. Any of them from the past 20 years is better in terms of skill. The problem is, obviously, it's these brands, these individuals. Who is Obi Toppin? I don't know, but you know what? Adam Silver, NBA, it's not a surprise. These people aren't showing up day of, revealing themselves, saying, by the way, I'm in the dunk contest. They know who's gonna be in it. You gotta start delivering their stories early. You gotta force the narrative early. I remember when Zach LaVine showed up for his first one, at least I heard something. There was some package or some little intro thing about how he's meant for this moment, how he's always thought that he was gonna be in this moment, and this was what he wanted to do, and he always knew he was gonna win the dunk contest. And I didn't know who the F he was, but at that point I was like, man, this guy believes in himself. They're not telling stories. They didn't give us any sort of emotional package about Obi Toppin and his dad before he brought his dad out.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
That would have been awesome.
Who is a dunker?
Yeah.
The man's name was, moniker was Dunker's Delight. And we're finding that out seconds before the dunk. And when they brought him out, the announcers didn't even know who the hell that guy was at first.
Mm-hmm.
This is the problem. It's storytelling. They had a story, and they didn't tell it to us. And we will sympathize, and we will root for people that we understand and we know and we learn about as a human. We're all professional athletes. They can all be big names. They really can be. It doesn't have to be a great success in the NBA. It doesn't have to be a championship player, but they can tell the story about this person in the few days or few weeks leading up to it. As soon as they get these okays from the nobodies who are going to participate, he brought his dad out there. Are you kidding me? And we didn't know about that. Kenny Smith did not know about that. But then all of a sudden they had some video of his dad, which was odd because I'm like, this footage doesn't look that old when they showed it. That's real, man. So these are how many people are in the NBA?
About
300.
Around 400, something like that.
These are special people who have made it this far. You tell any of their stories the right way, and we will care. But we think, not we, the NBA thinks that, well, their stars aren't coming, so it's a wash. At least we got these three guys. Let's just throw them out there. Hopefully, they do some good dunks. Tell some stories, and there shouldn't be a single person brought out onto the court for the dunk contest that we don't know who they are. We need to know these stories. When he's going back and he's pointing at somebody and bringing them out, Marv Albert needs to know exactly who he is, and tell us who his story is, or what his story is, and why he's out there. It's the staging. I'm not asking for people to bring a choir out. It's not about that. But if you're going to provide an emotional edge or connection to the audience, coordinate. And it was great because he brought out a teammate first. What was the guy's name?
Julius Randle. Yeah.
Yeah, he brought Julius Randle out there.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. Knicks making a showing at the All-Star Weekend or All-Star Day.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was searching. He was and then he brought another guy out. That could have been set up so dramatically. Oh my God, it's his dad. Wow, look at that. I mean, when Larry Nance Jr. brought his dad out, they put a little bit more effort into it, and there was a little bit more anticipation. And when he brought him out, it was okay, there's a connection there. We understand it. We're just stupid little humans. We just want a little bit of humanness and connection and emotion and reason to root for somebody, and they give us nothing, and they are dropping the ball, and they're blaming it, and people blame it on them for being nobodies. They're in the NBA. They're not a nobody. They're in the NBA.
Right.
Tell us their story. Make us care about it. That's a complete failure, and it pisses me off every time when I see somebody walk out on the court and the announcer's like, "Who's that?" Or "What's going on here? What's going on?" Okay, so because the dunks are always getting better. Also, it's like expectations versus delivery. You know, when a guy does a dunk that it may be too quick, or it develops too quickly, or the actual trick was too fast, you just need to hold off for the replay, because there's been countless dunks where the beauty and the difficulty is only revealed in the replay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we just need people to walk us through that. And the crew they had today, I think they did a bigger disservice to it than any of the dunkers. The announcing crew dropped the ball, and they just need to go back to school, figure out how to do this. You know, Kenny Smith is trying, and I've been wanting to talk to Kenny Smith for 2 years now. I made a whole 40-minute video about the 2020 dunk contest, 2019. About all the details here, and I've been trying to track down Kenny Smith. Maybe he'll respond to you. I'd love to. Maybe you could get him.
Yeah. One tweet storm where we all tag him.
Yeah, please. I want to talk to that guy. I feel like he has good instincts on how this stuff works. But he's usually fighting against some other people who just are like they're naysayers. They're negative people towards the dunk contest. You go into it like that, it's hard to pull out the good stuff, or at least shine it up, you know, when they're shitting all over it.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's the dunk contest. Dunks, man, we could go on about dunking for 8 days in a row here, nonstop. We're talking about dunks. But
yeah,
there was one dunk, and I don't know who it was. Who's the guy who got eliminated in the first round?
Stanley went first, I'm pretty sure.
He had one. It was like he messed up his first attempt, and then he went back and he just brought it back real far, and it got like loose in his hand. It was getting kind of chaotic, and the ball almost fell out of his hand, but he still caught it and dunked it. And I thought it was. I mean, that's one of my favorite aspects of just a reckless dunk on the ball. We talked about that.
Yeah.
But it's like, and that dunk looked a lot better in the replay. That's how you can tell of a good dunk. If it looks, the replay should only enhance it. If you're looking at a dunk in a replay and you realize it's not that great, well, it wasn't a great dunk. So, please, do you have any more thoughts on this?
Well, I do have a question. Going to the replay, did the replay enhance Simon's dunk for you, where he pump faked the kiss on the rim? Because I think we can all understand why he didn't fly into the rim and kiss it. I don't think it's that serious on All-Star Weekend that you want a new set of teeth. But did the replay enhance that one for you?
I think the expectations messed it all up.
Yeah.
And the announcers started saying, well, if he actually kissed the rim, then it's the greatest dunk, blah, blah, blah. It's a great dunk. And then we realized he didn't. Like, it messed it up. Like, he got close. He blew it a kiss, the rim a kiss. Like, that. They could have framed it better. We could have celebrated it. But instead, we're like, only if he would have done this horribly dangerous thing. Your face going toward the kissing metal ring.
Yeah.
But I thought he mixed it up, because when he came in and dunked it, and gosh, it's crazy, because I was just writing a little mini script about confidence in the air. When you saw when he dunked it, like he flinched.
Yeah.
Flinched on dunk.
Yeah, he was
like,
absolutely. You could tell that natural reflex. It happened.
What? Really? I mean, he's dunking it. Like, he dunked it, and he was like...
Yeah, no, I was thinking about that the whole time I was looking at the replay, and I was just dissecting it, and I was like, I can completely understand why he had that reaction, because he was going full speed towards it, and right before you get there, you realize that little moment where he had motioned to kiss it. I think he was actually trying to kiss it. Hell, I think when he got down there, he even thought he kissed it, because with that, aside from the commentators creating the expectation, he kind of did too. Whatever he did to motion that there was a kiss, that ruined the expectation, because I was like, oh damn, like he just pulled that off. I was ready to lose my mind. Then you got up there and you saw that he had the reflex. But absolutely, you could see that he thought he was about to, and then that millisecond he was like, oh shit, wait a minute, lips. Like everybody's hit their lips before on something, whether they were punched or whether they ran into something. This shit hurts up here. This is a soft area. You could tell that went through his brain really, really quickly. He was like, all right, cool, I'm out of here. But I'm gonna dunk it though, and I got high enough. His mouth was at the rim, but I think it did kind of take the spunk out of it. But I can understand the reflex there, and I thought the ideas were in the right place for Simons. Trying to kiss the rim, taking the ball from the top of the square and then dunking it. I think for whatever the commentators got wrong, whatever that crew got wrong tonight, one thing they did get right is, I think it was Kenny Smith, and he just said, oh, when you do a dunk like that, like, you really got to go get it. And I understood what he meant, because it was kind of just like a, look, I got really high, I'm 6'3", I got it off the square and I dunked it. There wasn't really anything else to it. When we've seen, what was that, 10, 15 years ago, we've seen Dwight Howard, which I'm not trying to compare their athletic ability, obviously, but we've seen Dwight Howard slap a sticker higher than that before on the backboard. So we've kind of seen some version of this. So just simply taking the ball from there and then softly dunking it in, I don't think that was enough, but I thought the idea was in the right place. I thought the idea on that dunk was in the right place. I thought the idea for topping, hell, whoever it was that tried to go under both legs. I think Stanley did try that before he ended up failing. I thought the creativity from these guys that we relatively don't know, or that the casual fan doesn't know, I thought it was in the right place. By the way, you need to put that excerpt about storytelling on a job application for the NBA, and this needs to be your side hustle or whatever, telling these player stories, because I mean, yeah, you've got it right. When they brought out his dad, first of all, I thought he was bringing out his friend, because on that camera angle or whatever, Toppin's dad looked like a friend that he just brought out from the side. Yeah, it just didn't, and then they were like, oh yeah, that's his dad. And then I did hear, I believe, Kenny go, oh wow, wait, that's what was his dunker name? Dunk something? Did you catch his name? The dad? Yeah, I didn't.
Dunker's Delight.
There we go. He was like, oh yeah, yeah. He was like, Dunker's Delight. Oh, I know Dunker's Delight. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is somebody. Yeah, I would have liked to have known that before. That would have helped, and that would have maybe given something to look forward to. But yeah, the player stories would help, because at this point we are susceptible to the idea that these guys that you really don't see all season or watch all season could bring something great. Like you said, when Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon came out and gave the greatest show, possibly the greatest dunk contest of all time. Not really stars. Players with potential, sure. Not bench warmers, players with potential, but not stars. But they still did that. And so we already have the idea that, okay, I'll try this out. Especially as basketball fans, like you said, we're always coming back to this contest, because we're going to come back next year and watch it. Even though this one was disappointing, we're going to come back next year and watch it. I watched the one before that. I've seen more disappointing dunk contests. Well, yeah, I absolutely have. Jeremy Evans with the fucking GoPro camera on his head in 2012. I'm still angry over that. That strikes a nerve with me. Yeah, you remember that one where he dunked and then twisted his head around? Yeah, I'm still very angry about that one. I don't know. Anyways, yeah.
Wait, hold on. You edit real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, some of the ideas were in the right place, and we'll see what happens next year. Who participates? Zion would have obviously helped this weekend, because we thought he was going to be there, and it was interesting. The whole thing going on, Zion is probably a whole different topic, but this very quick transformation in Zion's career happening from the time he was in college, that last year, he only did 1 year in college, to where he's at now. It's really interesting, because I feel like if you've been paying attention, you kind of realize, like, you might see something exciting from Zion in a game, but it already doesn't feel like it did when he was in college, and you knew you might see something just crazy every time you watch him play. And the reason I bring that up as it relates to All-Star Weekend is early on in this game, I think he missed like the first 3 lobs that they threw him. I don't know if it was nervous or him being timid because he's been injured before, but that Zion spark that was once there, it's just not always there. He's doing great this year. He's an All-Star now. He's got, he's posting crazy stats. I think he's just playing smarter, though. Zion is playing smarter these days, and not everything is a highlight dunk. But yeah, still, I think he could have aided the dunk contest. But yeah, we'll see what happens with it going forward. We'll see what happens with the All-Star game going forward, because I thought last year, I don't know, I felt like last year they tried a little bit more. I think they tried a little bit harder because it was that whole memorial for Kobe, and it was a whole tribute for Kobe. And I thought that they had things in place, the whole charity, and I thought that was going to make the play a little bit harder. But I don't know if it was that tonight or if it was the fact that Team LeBron somehow took up all the top players. I don't know, because when I looked at it, I was like, you got Curry and Luka and Giannis on the same team. That right there is enough to take like anybody. And then you look on the other side and you see Zach LaVine getting mega minutes, and I love Jason Tatum, but still though, it was like players that are just kind of like a tier below. So, but back to something we were talking about a lot earlier. Just one more tidbit on Curry. You were talking about him being fun and just how legendary this is. There was one shot where the camera panned on LeBron. I don't know what Curry did, but LeBron was kind of in awe. And it's like, that's kind of when you know something crazy is happening, because you have potential GOAT candidate sitting right here with his arms up. I think that's what it was. I think he had his arms up. I think he was just kind of like, yeah, has the face we've all had when we watch Curry. And for a second there, LeBron was a fan. And so that's the type of gravity that Curry had in this All-Star weekend. And that's the type of moments he had. So overall, I at least I can say that I enjoyed it. I can say that the 3-point contest was exciting enough. Maybe I'm the only person who enjoyed the skills challenge since I was on your show and we talked about it, and now we've got this, we're trying to build this up, and seeing Sabonis actually go out there and practice for it, I at least got something out of that. And then the All-Star game itself, you got some moments. I'm happy with it, but who knows if everything is gonna be a weekend, if it's gonna take place in one day. That's pretty much my observations and thoughts about it. Do you think it should be over a weekend, or are you for the one day fits all type thing going forward?
I think I'll be fine when it goes back to 2 days. It will go back to 2 days.
Yeah, it has.
I mean, they're not gonna like just give away real estate and more advertising dollars.
Oh yeah, of course. That's where it always defaults, right? It's always it's always the money. All about the Benjamins.
Yeah. There's something I'm so glad you brought up Zion, because it is an observation I made recently to myself. There was it's right there. It's just right there. Simon, that's the guy who dunked it but flinched. He tried to kiss the rim. Was that the guy's name?
Anthony Simons. Yeah.
When he dunked it and like flinch, I was thinking, man, that is exactly what I was trying to write a script about recently, because there's a dunk that Markelle Fultz did a couple years ago where he dunked it, one of his few points, and when he dunked, he completely got out of the way of his own dunk, like he was scared of it. And then I had that clip. I actually think I got that clip on Top Shots. Top Shot.
Oh,
I bought that moment.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah. Okay. Hey, you might be sitting on like a band right there. Markelle Fultz flinch dunk. You never know.
Listen, if I can hype it up myself, it's a thing, right? That's part of this. The scam the Top Shot is, you can juice up your own moments.
Absolutely.
It's a scam. It's not a scam. It's a hustle. It's all a hustle. Everything's a hustle. How long is the hustle gonna last? Who knows? But then just last week I saw a clip, and I don't know. I think it was from this year. Zion went up and blocked somebody's shot, but he blocked it off the backboard. He's up there, his head's up there, and when he blocked it, he just simply, just comfort, right? He just moved his head to the side while he was in the air, calmly. Got out of the way of the ball. I said, that man is comfortable in the air. That guy owns his airspace. And when he's up there, he can process what's happening in real time. And he's not reacting to things like he's being shot at. And I think that's there's a big difference between people who are comfortable in the air and people who are just reacting when they're in the air. And they're reacting like they're, running from other, like they're being hunted. Anything can happen. Their own dunk could hurt them. Ball could come out of the net in any kind of crazy way. Sure, they might have had the momentary confidence to dunk it, but here comes the ball. Zion is he went up there, he swatted it off the glass, and just moved his head slightly to the side in the air, and the ball just moves out of the way. Like it's moving a little slower. He's so used to being up there that he has command over himself in those micro moments where things get a little out of control. You know, people are down by your legs, the ball's going crazy directions, you're headed towards the rim and the backboard, but it just doesn't faze him because he's so comfortable with it. And I think that's something that's very, I guess it's rare. And it's amazing that people in the NBA, not everybody in the NBA is comfortable with all the chaotic things that can happen in the air. They're not comfortable with it. It still surprises them. So watching that young man dunk today and be scared of his own dunk and how close he got to the rim, it was like, oh wow, like really is an ability and a trained thing and a skill, something that should be, you know, applauded, to be comfortable in the air. So I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk about Zion, how comfortable he is up there. And in addition, that spark about Zion's game that I feel like that we're not getting it might be that recklessness.
Okay.
That we're not getting. It's that kind of willingness to go to terrorize his airspace. I mean, he might be too comfortable in the air. He knows what he can do and what he can't do, and he's not trying things that he knows he can't do. Would be absolutely mind-blowing. Even though his range is beyond what most people's are. I don't know if, you know, I'm making sense of this, but his range is beyond what most people's range are in the air. But he's not pushing it any further, to the point where what Zion can do is once again unbelievable. We expect it and we see it, and he's staying in that range. And it's probably because of his health, and they're trying to teach him how to run, teach him how to land. It's probably in his own head. So we're not getting that little extra ounce of, like, you know, I don't know, rookie Ja Morant trying to dunk on everybody, like missing. Which is what we want. We want people to be reckless when they get in the air. That's dangerous. Yeah. You had moved on to something else, and I forgot what you were talking about.
Yeah, you know, just back to the Zion point. I mean, before we do move on, the Zion point is it's interesting because, yeah, when you look at a guy like Derrick Rose, that's kind of where he was at when he got hurt. It was that reckless phase. So if you look at you talk about that comfort that he had back in like his MVP year when he was hanging forever in the rim or around the rim before he would dunk. I mean, my brother were watching his highlights. He was young when Derrick Rose got hurt, so he didn't really, you know, experience that. But he was like, God damn, basically, because Rose was what, 6'1", 6'2". He's a small guy, and, you know, probably Curry size even. And he was up there, completely comfortable, knew he could do what he wanted. He could change and do something else. He had that kind of time when he was up there. But eventually his play style culminated in the injury. The rest goes how it goes. So when Zion first got drafted, that's what I was most excited about. I was catching every second of every Zion game that I could because I knew I might see something crazy. And I went from preseason and a little bit. That was the only time I've really ever taken an interest in college basketball, actually, was when he was there at Duke. But I'm for it. You know, I'm for it because he's an all-star now, and one thing we've always worried about was his weight coming into the league. We worried about his weight, the size, and if it was going to be too good to be true. Because when you looked at him coming in, you're like, this looks a little bit too good to be true. He's not that tall, but he's still able to play in the paint because he's just that much stronger than everybody. I remember, I think it was a preseason game where I saw him kind of like push Rudy Gobert around, who's got a decent amount of height on him. He's pushing him around and scoring on him and moving him off his spot. And I believe this is around, he might have been Defensive Player of the Year that year. And so you start to think to yourself, man, this might just be a little too good to be true. And you see injuries in the future and all that good stuff. Anyways, long story short, if we're going to get some hesitant moments and we're not going to see him try to do all kinds of crazy twists in the air, because that did kind of happen tonight. It seemed like sometimes when they lobbed him the ball, he wasn't sure if he should just go all the way out and do some just flat out freaky shit, or if he should just dunk it. And then it resulted in him just kind of missing it. I kind of think that's what we saw there. But it's just it's kind of representation of where he's at right now, becoming a smarter player. And if that's what it's gonna take, if we're just gonna watch layup lines when we see Pelicans games, I mean, we will see the occasional the flash, like you said, the block, and you are gonna get a alley from Zion. You're still gonna get some dunks, but a lot of what you're gonna get is just bodying people and laying it up and being very efficient. And I'm okay with that with Zion, honestly. I would take that over the crazy what if scenario we've had with Derrick Rose over the last 9 or so years. So the last couple of things we'll move on here because, like you said, it is definitely late. I have 2 topics. I have a million topics written down, but I have 2 that I want to get to before we end.
Let's get some topics off the list, man.
Yeah, because the list just keeps getting longer, and we don't actually get to the it's topics. That's a good thing, though. That's a good thing because we're able to get we'll eventually circle around to Dominique Wilkins and his questionable judgment one day on this podcast. But
can I talk about Dominic for like a minute?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, throw some in.
Him and Dr. J are such sad cases. I mean, they're great. Okay, there's obviously, gosh, I don't even. Can we get beyond just like checking boxes here? Obviously, I respect him. Obviously, he has a great career. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. J dunked on some guy 50 years ago. He's still out here talking about this story where he dunked on this guy and how he dunked on him. He wouldn't talk to me for the next 20 years. He's still telling this story. And Dominique Wilkins has the same story where he dunked on a guy and the guy wouldn't talk to him for like 10 years or something like that. These guys are out there championing their own stories, being the champion of their own stories. They are their own mouthpiece, telling their own legends. I've heard this story from Dr. J multiple times about how he dunked on this guy and the guy hasn't talked to him in 20 years. He's so mad at him because he dunked on him. And I heard him, it was on that NBA, what is it? With the TNT guys. It's on NBA.
Inside. Oh, you mean where they're all sitting around, kind of?
Yeah, all sitting around.
I was trying to remember the name of it. I saw a clip today. I think Legend of Winning posted it. I was trying to remember the name of that show, and I can't remember
Inside.
Yeah.
What is it? Around the Talk?
Yeah, something. It was awesome though. They had used to have Steve Kerr on there. That one. Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah.
That's also another one we're gonna get to.
It's just, it's almost as if they know they don't have disciples singing their praises, so they have to spread their own legend. And the worst thing you can do as a professional athlete who has some sort of clout, some sort of actual history, a legacy, some sort of some level of NBA royalty, and for you to be the one to spread your own legend is the worst, most desperate thing. And you go find yourself a Horace Grant. Go find yourself somebody to go around and spread your stories. Pay them, get them on the payroll, work it like LeBron's trying to work it, where people are out there, on your team spreading your legend. Because Dr. J telling the same stories about how he dunked on the guy, and in 40 years he hasn't talked to him. And then Dominique Wilkins telling the same exact type of story. It's thin, it's transparent, it's clear what's happening, that they need to get their legend out there, and nobody's taking it. Anyway, that's a different story for a different time. Okay. Where were you going with your question? Your new topic, please. Let's go there.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, we can definitely do a whole thing about that at some point in time. That's funny because I do have some.
Nobody cares about Dr. J. Nobody cares about him.
He had a good documentary about 8 years ago.
He was in it. He did his own documentary. You never want to be the. If there's a documentary about you, you don't want to be the one doing the most talking.
Right.
When you're the one doing the most talking in your documentary, maybe you shouldn't have done that documentary. That's the thing. When you're talking, it's like if you're doing some sort of true crime documentary on a murderer, and then the murderer himself is the one saying, yeah, and then that's when I was doing this and that. No, it's better if other people are talking about you.
I get it.
Tell me how great he was playing on, at the Rucker or something like that. Don't tell me. Get one of the other guys to tell me. It sounds better. It frames it better. And you can be demure. You can be the one who's, coy about it. And just, oh yeah, That was pretty good. And then the other people go on about it. They're so desperate. The desperation, and I feel and I understand it. They don't want to be left behind and forgotten. Okay. Please.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, on some level I get it. On some level I get it. Because I do think about that. Some points I'm like, when was I thinking about it? I don't know. Probably during reading some basketball book. As I have Pistol Pete right here. I always go back throughout history. Yeah. This is a good one. After you get past like the first 50 pages, you know, Presmarovich is really interesting. Presmarovich is awesome, but they spent a long time. And Jordan Rules. Right, yeah, that's another one. I read that one as well. It's fire. But I do kind of have that thought to myself about older players, because there's so much, especially in a Dr. J career like you're talking about. There's so much glamour and so much going on in a career like that when you're in the prime of it, and then one day you retire. And that's just it. It's just all gone. Like, your life can never be as exciting as it was when you were playing in front of thousands of people and when you were the focal point of a franchise. Now, difference is, guys like Dr. J, they played before social media, so their tales don't organically live on, I would say. They have their documentaries where they might have to be the word of mouth for it. Or they have, you know, whatever stories they're constantly telling. Maybe they have to, because the guys that we're growing up with, and we're actually going to be talking about it, they'll be living on in moments. Shout out to NBA Top Shot. They'll be living on in these virtual moments that people are actually paying for now. And they'll on YouTube and Instagram, they're circulated from the time moment happens, and just keeps on going and going. So they didn't actually have that luxury. So somebody like LeBron is going to be able to, and he's got his team, like you said. That's a whole different thing. But he doesn't have to try nearly as hard, because he's playing right now, from the time he retires, all of his greatest moments are going to be recycled forever and ever and ever past the time that he's gone. They're going to keep going. And the same did not happen for these other guys that were great at one point, and then they left. And then social media got bigger, and other careers got bigger. And they're damn near buried, I guess. Because how many people... You're right, on Twitter. Who the fuck talks about Dr. J? And I actually find him interesting. And that's not Dr. J slander. Just in case on the long shot and sometime in the next 5 years that we have Dr. J on this podcast. That's not slander. NBA Twitter just doesn't talk about certain players. I saw somebody tweet out, people forget... What was the tweet? Said something like, people forget what Walt Frazier did in the 1970 finals. It's like, yeah, nobody knows, honestly. Like, unless you've gone back and looked. Unless you go back and look, unless it's like your job. Like, I had to make videos about some of this stuff. And I'm interested. I have a genuine interest in it. But yeah, if you don't have that, you just don't know. But yeah, no, we could definitely do that for a good amount of time. I do want to move on to these last two here, because that does sound fun. I'm tempted to go on forever, but I do want to talk about Top Shot, and I do want to do a little bit of a tidbit on Blake on the Nets, because I feel like you might have some thoughts about Blake Griffin. Somewhere in the
Griffin's I love. Go ahead.
You love Blake Griffin. It sounded like that's where you were going.
Talking about Blake Griffin.
Okay, yeah, talking about. Yeah, because at some point in the chaos today of us having an All-Star Sunday and Ben Simmons and Embiid being sent home right before the game, who even knows if they mingled with other players, and that's a whole whatever. Yeah, Blake was officially bought out the other day, and he signed with the Brooklyn Nets. And so now I see propaganda being spread, because obviously whenever one of these signings happens, we get the graphics of these four players. That's how it's being framed now. It's KD, Kyrie, Harden, and then Blake. Because Blake still looks like he's in his prime physically. He doesn't look like... You can see other players out of their prime. He doesn't look like he's out of his prime. So I kept showing my brother the pictures, because again, he doesn't know much. And I'm like, just know this. This is propaganda, okay? The way they have these four players. Blake is not Blake anymore. Now, I'm also not saying from a basketball standpoint, I don't think the signing was bad for the Nets. I think low risk, high reward. It's always great when you're in position like the Nets are. This doesn't really cost them anything. It's not like you're necessarily going to get worse on defense. He's not fixing any problems that they have on defense, but it's not going to detrimentally wound them or anything. He's going to be used as their small ball center off the bench, is what they say. They've had some success with small ball. I think a lot of their defensive scheme is going to involve switching anyways. And Blake playing on a team like this just needs to be in certain spots. And he's going to have good looks, because he is not who the defense is going to be paying attention to. If you even look at DeAndre Jordan on offense right now, he's the beneficiary of lobs all the time. He's able to roll, and he gets lobs from Kyrie and mostly Harden right now because KD hasn't played in like a Half-Life. But he's getting, yeah, he's always in the dunker spot, so he's getting lobs. Maybe Blake will be getting in on that now. But I tweeted that out a couple of days ago before he signed there. Thought it was perfect. I said if I was Blake Griffin, this is where I would go. The Nets. If I go to the Nets, I have a great chance to win a championship.
That before it happened?
Yeah, on whatever day it was that he got bought out. Yeah, I tweeted out the whole thing. I was like, why would I not go there if I'm Blake? I can go and definitely get out of the East. I think that's the Nets have a great chance of that. Probably win a championship, which I think his career could probably benefit from at this point, given the way things have gone. Not going to be asked to do much, and then I can look useful again because I'm going to have open looks. The fourth quarter, I'm not the guy that they're going to be guarding. He's asked to do very little, and I think that he can do something good for the Nets. But those are my thoughts on it. You said you enjoyed talking about Blake Griffin, and if you have any thoughts on him on the Nets as well, that'd be cool. But yeah, what do you think?
Blake Griffin he's like a relic. He's somebody. He is the old trick, not trick, like card trick, like street trick, but card trick, where he's like, when a rookie would come into the NBA, and if they could dunk really good, they were a sensation. They were the biggest thing in the world, right? So all you had to do in your first few years is be able to dunk really good, finish around the rim, and you would be a star. Games developed. You can't just dunk and be a superstar. But he kind of filled that weird role. I mean, where you can come into the league and just dunk really good or just be really aggressive around the rim. And not necessarily be a playmaker, not necessarily be somebody who is making all your teammates better, but just be a good finisher and still be a superstar. So I've just been fascinated by his career because then he started starting to shoot with his little weird set shot.
Yeah.
And I still don't know how efficient he is. Did he ever develop that? Is he good at?
Yeah. Well, first of all, he's only played like 30 something games in the last few years or whatever. But he has not dunked since 2019, I believe. And yet, as the Pistons days were developing, his 3-point shot that was what Blake was doing. Really, he's shooting threes, and it was crazy because he went from stuffing people's head in his crotches he was dunking to not prolific 3-point shooter, but yeah, Blake actually became like a 3-point shooter. That was his thing.
So, for him to be able to, I mean, he knows what he has to do. Mind you, if you watch the All-Star game, doesn't he have a new show coming out?
Yeah, he did. I saw that. I caught that. I didn't see exactly what it's about, but I did see the little banner. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how advanced the people are on these PR teams or these management teams, but for somebody like Blake Griffin to have a long-term plan of like sucking basketball or not just disappearing, then all of a sudden showing up on a new team and being able to stuff somebody's face into their crotch while he dunks on them again, the timing, it would work out, and I wouldn't put it past Blake Griffin to do something like that. He's just too savvy. He's always been on the outskirts of the game. He's always been willing disinterested in playing the fake parts of the game. You remember when people used to call him soft?
Yeah.
People used to try to bully him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He wouldn't fight back. And it was interesting to me because I was always like, he understands it's all fake. The aggression and the fighting, it's all fake, and he never really was interested in participating in that. And there was one year where he started to kind of push back a little bit because he knew the character of Blake Griffin should stand up for himself at some point. And it always just felt artificial, like he was too aware of the performance aspect of it. So it's like, if this all came around and then he, and I saw it on Twitter too, where he was like, watch, this guy's gonna start dunking on people again in Brooklyn. Is all part of his plan. I mean, that's not that cynical. It really isn't. He is very aware of the performance of the NBA versus, actual competition. Like, he gets it. Like Alonzo Ball. He understands that people aren't really trying to fight right now on this court versus, just play your game and do your thing. but you got to perform it sometimes. He's such a smart guy. It just struck me when that commercial hit that he has a new show coming out. It felt so odd to me. I don't know how to calculate that. It's really throwing me off that he has a show coming out. It's like a prank show.
Yeah, it's like exposing real life prankers or something like that. Yeah.
Like maybe he just pranked the Pistons for like 3 years. It just felt too on the nose, you know? I don't know. It's really weird. It's like if Chris Paul was playing and then like some car crashed onto the court, in the middle of the game, and he was just like, well, good thing I have State Farm. It's like, wait a second, this is all a setup. So there's people that are too aware of. I mean, everybody's aware, but I know he's aware of the layers of the game. So him just dogging it and half-assing it in Detroit. Like, I really have never watched Detroit play a basketball game in the past 2.5 years. I haven't watched a single game.
Most people haven't.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what their record is. I have no clue who plays for them.
Yeah. That's about the story of the Pistons since they traded Chauncey Billups. That's pretty much you can like fit that in any year since they traded Chauncey. It applies.
Yeah, I mean, is Andre Drummond still on the Pistons?
Drummond he's been gone. He's on the Cavaliers. Traded to the Cavaliers some eons ago. And yeah.
So I don't know. I'm glad because he's one of those players that is acutely aware of everything that's going on and the performance versus actually what the NBA is. So if he goes to the Nets and becomes productive, I support that. Like I'm more power to that guy. I like Blake Griffin. Like I like the Glurfinator. I like him. He's good. He's a good guy. But he's just I feel like I just can't trust him. I can't trust anything that's happening around him on face value. I mean, what is he getting? He's like taking less money, right? Like he
got bought out, and I think he bought out, and I think the terms were he relinquished like $13 million off of his Pistons contract, because that was the big deal. His contract with the Pistons was very expensive. Blake has been very hurt, which is really what's been going on in Detroit, because he actually was having a good. He was an all-star, I think. It was the first time he was having a redemption in Detroit in probably his first year there, but the injuries have just piled on over the years. And it was looking crazy because he had a player option on his contract, where he could have been a very useless player on a very expensive contract. And so Detroit, no, we can't do this. Yeah, we got to find out something mutual. They agreed that you're not going to play here anymore. We're going to find something for you. You can't trade that contract though. Absolutely could not trade it. So he was bought out, and now he's damaged goods. He's damaged goods. That's the what you're saying, because Blake has been a good actor. Blake has been a great actor throughout. I think he's one of the few NBA players that could actually have like a legitimate acting career. But no, he has been injured. I don't think this has been some elaborate plan where he's gonna go on the Nets and they have a big four now. But he might start dunking again. That might be a thing. That
if they start winning, people will frame it that way.
Yeah,
start winning.
The optics.
They win it 2 in a row or something like that, or they're going to frame it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like when people start talking about how the Warriors had 4 All-Stars, because they're including Andre Iguodala in there. I'm like, All-Star like a decade ago.
And that's always interesting. That's a topic we could definitely jot down for one day, but it's not even really a topic. It's just the language that people use, because it goes with the narrative, right? Like, it always bothered me back when I cared about internet arguments and when I cared about getting into them. When somebody had to prove something, they would go, X team had X amount of Hall of Famers. And I'm like, okay, first of all, there's tiers, there's levels to this. There's Hall of Famers, and there's Hall of Famers. So anybody who really watches this stuff understands that. So just saying like, oh, that team had 5 Hall of Famers. Okay, what kind of Hall of Famers did they have? Did they have the LeBron Hall of Famers? Did they have the Tier 1 Hall of Famers that were leading teams before they were together? Or did they have a Tier 1 Hall of Famer, then a guy that got in because he was a part of that team? Just saying that there were X Hall of Famers on here doesn't help. And so that's what it'll become later with Brooklyn, right? Because say Blake Griffin got a ring or two and he stayed with Blake, I don't think his chances on the Hall of Fame are high. I don't know if he had made enough All-Star teams. I don't know if he was healthy long enough for that to happen. Yeah, because even, I look back, I didn't realize Chauncey Billups was not in the Hall of Fame. I did not realize that until I did the video the other day. I really thought that he was in there. He's not. He has a Finals MVP, a championship, some All-Stars, but he's not in the Hall of Fame. Interesting. But say just some
one of those like deep dives on like Chauncey Billups?
No, not at all. No, it was just a ranking of like Finals MVPs and champions. So it wasn't a deep dive, but I did pick up a couple of things. But no, if for some fucking reason Blake ended up being a Hall of Famer at the end of his career, now all of a sudden the narrative will come back and be, oh, the Nets had 4 Hall of Famers on their team when they played the Lakers. How are they supposed to win? Blake is not a tier 1 Hall of Famer on the Nets. Unless I am just really, really loud and really, really wrong right now, he's not going to be a tier 1 Hall of Famer for this Nets team. But yeah, that's my little rant about the language of how we do these things, because that absolutely happens, and it's a tool. It's a tool in basketball debates to pump it up how much you need it, or take as much as you need away. You can just label guys, all NBA, whatever they were. You can just say it without any context, and that's pretty much how that goes. But yeah, so that goes back to where we started this conversation with the pictures that they're using to advertise this team, because it looks beastly. Like they're great photoshopped. It looks like Blake has already played for a year in Brooklyn. The Photoshop jerseys, all of them and whatnot. Like you can't even tell. It's like he's been there, and he looks beastly. And they look like the Monstars, because in our head, like you said earlier with the whatever conversation we were having earlier when the buzzwords. That's right. The logo. We were talking about the logo, and like something brilliant just happened
from the logo.
So when you see these pictures of these guys, it looks like something brilliant just happened. And maybe it did, but Blake might be brilliant as a role player. It's not brilliant in the way that these pictures show, but we'll see how this happens going forward. But I absolutely think I think it's a good thing for both sides. And Blake Griffin has had a very interesting career. I would definitely watch a movie that Blake Griffin potentially starred in. I think he's one of the only players that could pull that off legitimately. Because other basketball players, I feel like we watch their movies and it's just because, oh, that said basketball players in it. We don't ever expect it to be good. I don't expect Space Jam 2 to be good.
What is it? What's the movie KD did?
KG?
KD.
Ah, fuck, Thunderstruck. Oh my god. I watched
it. Did you watch it? Have you seen it?
Yes, I had it on Blu-ray. Don't ask me how I got it on Blu-ray. I don't know why I own this. I do own it. I own it. And this thing just popped up. I was thinking about it earlier, how in life, certain things just pop up, like certain knowledge, right? Like the thought I was having in my head, I was like, I don't know when I learned that who Tupac was or when he died, but just one day in my life, I just knew Tupac was a legend that just isn't alive anymore. I don't know who told it to me. And so it's the same concept with this Thunderstruck. I don't know when it popped up in my life. I don't know when I got it, but it's just here, and I watched it a couple of times. It's the worst fucking movie ever. He put no effort in it. That's a movie that's exactly what I'm talking about right here. I watched that movie just because KD was on the cover, and he put no effort. He didn't have to put any effort into it. They knew what audience they were drawing in with that movie. Movie fucking sucks. I don't even remember what point I was making with all of this, so I'm going to move on to Top Shot now. I seriously don't remember where that spawned from. This is going to be our last topic, because I have to do this. Lord knows I am exhausted right now, but I have to get to Top Shot, because a lot of the audience doesn't understand it. I still don't understand portions of it. I'm supposed to be on a Top Shot stream sometime this week, one of those really big streams that they're doing. So I'm gonna mince my words here. I'm gonna choose them carefully.
Oh, that's great. Are you like with Top Shot actual?
Yeah. Because I know a guy that ended up there. So it's a cool thing, and I'm doing business with the moments.
Can you do right now?
So,
or how can you?
Well, I don't think there's anything that I can. First of all, I don't have any like material information or anything about it. I can just say what I don't understand and what I do understand. And because a lot of the audience, me and you get it, but a lot of the audience still doesn't really know what this is. They haven't dabbled into it. The best way I can describe it is free money, almost, at the moment, and who knows how long it's going to last. So where do we start with Top Shot? Do you have a place that you will start with Top Shot? Because this is, I don't know if you're as perplexed. I don't know if you're as perplexed as I am, so.
Okay, so the place I would start with Top Shot is when I was a kid. I used to go to the trading card place and buy packs of cards. And I spent all the little bits of money I would have or my parents would give me. I would buy basketball cards. And I get it. I get the idea. I get it. It takes a couple leaps of faith, but to have a collection of something that is curated by you and your interest or whatever by chance you were able to get, and the ability for just the opportunity to get something great out of something that, a pack that you don't know, the mystery of it, it is pulling, it's pinging off of all of those same emotions of anybody who's ever collected cards. And then there's the other side of it, which is just hustle. I call it a scam, but I respectfully call it a scam. There's something I'd introduce to you later. It's called the scam scale that I would love to dive into. This is pure scam. Because when you go on that website and you're trying to buy or sell moments, you realize it's just the current hustle. And it's just a matter of getting the right thing and trying to sell it and trying to manipulate the prices of things. And what they're giving us are moments. And to some of us, like me, that might be enough. Just to attach a moment, a thing, and allow an individual to feel like they have some sort of individual ownership over something that's related to their passion. In this case, basketball. That's all basketball cards, baseball cards have ever been. It's just to have some sort of fake attachment and ownership over something that you could never have in real life. You weren't there, you have nothing to do with it, but somehow you own this moment, right? So I get it, but the way it's proliferating and the way you look at those markets and the way they're selling it, it's moving money. It's money movement. It's another way to manipulate money, and it's just surrounded by an actual moment in basketball, which is, like I said, it just kind of clicks off a little neural signal of a passion that you love, a part of you that you identify with. I went on there and I bought a Markel Fultz dunk moment, for $30, and I'm on there trying to find the lowest price at the lowest serial number or whatever it is. And then you realize, because I went on and I was looking at it and I was like, okay, so the lower you go, I might be too into the woods at this point, but if you have a low serial number, there may be a moment that's been sold 1,000 or 10,000 times. Markel Fultz dunk. 10,000 people own that moment. If you get a serial number that's low, it's worth more money. And then you find one that's kind of low and it's cheaper than others. You're like, oh, this is a great deal. But then you realize one individual owns all of those moments, and that they've figured out how to price point the lowest one and triangulate a price point that is intriguing enough for me to think I'm getting a deal. And it's just a hustle. But I'm fine with it because I'm getting to own something that's related to the passion that I have. It's passion exploitation. That's what it is. And I don't think I explained anything. It's participatorial exploitation. I know I'm getting taken advantage of, but I'm fine with it. Because on my page, you get to see the 3 or 4 moments that I think were interesting. And the way I'm using it is that I'm trying to find moments that I can tell stories about. And the nefarious part of that is that I think if I can tell a compelling story, it will generate enough interest in the moments that I have so I could sell them for more money. So it's all a scam.
So that's the scam, is that that you can have that moment and basically get it to the point where you're happy with the profit, and then get it off. Okay.
I think by the strength of storytelling, I can make a matter moment. And I don't know if I have to reach yet. Maybe, as we talk, and you're obviously about to do something with them, right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
I think you should go on there and really do some all Marcel moments. Because they're rare.
Right.
Rare.
Yeah.
So, it's trading cards, but it's built in, it's tied to every modern system that's able to be manipulated by people with a lot of money. Oh, is that a long-lasting thing? Will it last? I don't have a lot of faith that it's going to be some sort of staple in the basketball community forever. I think it'll be co-opted by people who know how to manipulate markets, just like everything else. It's just too available. It's too accessible to everybody who don't even care about basketball.
Yeah,
who don't even care about these moments. To just block out a moment by every single one of them. Figure out what the perfect price point is to resell their moments and lure people in to feel like they're getting a good deal on something that they can feel like they touch and they are actually part of the NBA. But at the same time, like I'm saying, I feel like when I bought a Taco Falls moment block, I bought a Markelle Fultz dunk. These, to me, they may not be categorized as elite moments, but I feel like these are rare moments. And there's a story behind them that I feel I can connect to. I think if they're really trying to sell moments and connect with people, they would branch out beyond just the actual plays. It would be little things. Somebody said on Twitter, it was like, there was like a moment where Steph Curry and LeBron James were like, it was like a little high five in the game. That should be a moment. I'm fine with it. I like that, like things off the court. Like if we're really going to have moments and want to connect with things that matter to us, it's just as valid as basketball cards or any sort of trading cards. It really is just as valid as any sort of trading card. And I'm sitting right over here next to I can't reach it right now, but cards from when I was a kid. I still cherish those moments. I look at them and they still bring that same feeling back. And I can obviously, just the same way as I can look at all these moments online, I can look up all these cards online. Why are these worth something? I don't know. Because I've had them for a while, I guess. I kind of get that. I get that intangible aspect of it, where it's just like, it's my connection to this thing. It's like buying somebody's jersey. Sure, you could wear it. But it's like, when I'm clicking around and I'm looking at Andre Iguodala's collection of Top Shot moments, like, oh, well, these are what's interesting to him. Like, for some reason or another, this is why he has these. And, I'll look at Dom's and I'm like, he has these. I wonder why he has these. And hopefully there could be a faction where it's part of their individual storytelling. Like, these are the moments that they connected with. But I don't know, because sometimes, it's hard to actually get the moments that you connect with. Sometimes the moments you connect with are going to be too damn expensive or too rare.
Yeah.
And too inaccessible. So they got a lot to learn and figure out. And if they jump the shark on accessibility, just become this way to manipulate money based on a new thing, it might as well be some sort of cryptocurrency. It's just a new type of currency. It's just as fake as all the other currencies that we have. But at least in this moment, you get to have some sort of individuality about what your currency is. And right now, I'm looking for Markelle Fultz moments, Taco Fall moments, and when they bring out the nostalgia moments, I'm looking for anything with Manute Bol. some sort of archival moment.
The nostalgia moments are gonna go crazy. Yeah.
On a base level, I get it. It's just as valid as any other trading card. Is just a simple piece of paper. You're like, it's just a piece of paper with a picture on it. You know, that's everything. Well, that's money. It's just a piece of paper with a picture on it. Why does it have value? Because we project value onto it. We all agree that it has value. So, I do see it as basically a big old fancy.
Oh, this is why we bring you on,
because marketing guy 6 months ago asked me if I wanted to be a Top Shot ambassador, and I never responded to that email. Shout out to him.
I too got an email from Top Shot. I don't know if they asked me to be an ambassador, but I think the reason I didn't respond back then, it was just like an advertising deal, and it wasn't anywhere near in the range it needed to be in a video. Anyways, that's besides the point.
You were a big shot back 6 months ago.
I'm glad I have your perspective on here, because I will say, just in that little spiel there, I get it a little bit more than I did before I get on, because you're one of the only people so far that have been able to actually justify wanting their moments. Because a lot of people, that's been my question with this whole thing so far, is like, is it just currency, or is there actually a reason for somebody to have that My Collection tab and actually have a collection of moments? So you shined a little bit of light on that, even though I know you clearly see the business part of it as well. Just to, I guess, make this a bit clearer for the audience, I'll explain. Top Shot, like you said, basketball cards are virtual. That's literally it. So if your basketball card had LeBron dunking on Kevin Garnett, now your moment, that was a picture on your card. Now your moment on Top Shot actually has the video of LeBron dunking on Kevin Garnett. These are going for crazy prices, because if you watch, Jimmy High Roller has a really good video on it. He explained it, pretty much everything that I've pondered about with it.
Jimmy, the second best voice in NBA YouTube. Only second to Dom.
The cards are being sold and sold again and sold again. And because, first of all, the part that hadn't been mentioned here is the moments are created on the blockchain, as I understand. So there can't be like, they're protected, can't just go like fabricate a moment or whatever. Created on a blockchain, have their own serial number, and they, the NBA releases, just like cards, a certain amount of them. So certain cards might have printed only 75 of these moments, or I'll just call it moments. They may have only printed 75 of these moments here, and then for another moment there might be like 10,000 of them. And so of course you can deduce there, the one that has like 75 is going to be expensive, just like basketball cards. One that has 10,000, not so much, but still they're going crazy. So what's happening here is, on this site, the only way to actually get in right now, because everyone's undercutting, like you said, they're getting a card and they're saying, okay, what's the lowest ask? And the quickest way to get a card off on Top Shot right now is just undercut the lowest price. So somebody's selling a card for $330, you just go set your price at $320 and get rid of it in a couple of minutes. It'll be gone. Now, getting those cards is the tricky part, and actually getting a profit. Because obviously if you buy a card at its lowest ask for $320, you're probably not going to make anything unless you hold on to it for a long time and the value raises because the player got traded, or the value raises for whatever reason, right? Then you might make some money off of it, but the quickest way is just undercut. Now, how are you going to get the cards? You have to get packs. How are you going to get packs? Well, they're going to drop packs, and they're going to tell you when they're dropping packs. And like today's drop, they did a rookie set, so I think it had like one rookie card and then like 6 other cards in it. That pack drops, and they're only selling 30,000 of them. In line to get those packs, there are 200,000 people, probably. Like, that number's growing like every time I get on. And so what ends up happening is you get in the line about 15 minutes before the drop starts, and you get a random number. So it doesn't matter if you came in, well, to my knowledge anyways, it doesn't matter if you came in at 445 or 450. When the clock hits 5, it's going to assign you a random number, and you're either jumping for joy or you're shit out of luck. Me and my brother got on today. He the pack was selling. They were selling 30,000 of them. His line number was 7,000. Mine was fucking 126,000. I didn't get a pack. He did.
I was 220.
Say what?
That was, yeah.
Yeah. It was a shame. Anyways, so if you do get a pack, because a couple of days ago I did get a pack. If you do get a pack, you're gonna open it. You're gonna get those moments. They're gonna open the marketplace up back whenever, and you can decide what you want to do with the cards that you get. So you can maybe make a play and say it's literally just like the NBA, it's NBA stock market. Basically, is how I look at it. Because you can say, okay, I'm gonna hold on to this. I think this is gonna raise. I think something's gonna happen. This card is gonna raise. I'm gonna hold on to it. Or if you bought that pack for $14 and you happen to come across a player whose card is selling for like a minimum of 200 or 300, you can go make the quickest money of your life. That's why so many people are in on this right now. That's why everyone's flocking to this. Because if you can get that, it's like a lottery ticket at the moment. It's like small lottery tickets basically, and it's a little bit easier to win than a lottery, I would say, statistically. I don't know, I have to look that one up. So there's a lot of money being thrown around in this right now, and like Storyteller said, I don't know where like the ceiling is or where the floor is, how long this is going to be around, but I do know, and a lot of people know, you can make money with this at the moment. Now that's where it starts to get like, I was searching, I don't know, just my brain just needed a valid explanation, I guess, because when I first got into this, I don't understand how it started, because again, they approached me and I looked at the email and I was like, oh, videos and cards or moments. But my problem is I can see the same exact moment on YouTube. And again, just so I can clear this up, I'm not, because again, I'm making money with this. So if people want to buy it, they want to buy it. But I was just looking for my own explanation. I'm trying to figure out, like Storyteller was explaining, how in a collector's mind this equates to owning cards. Because I have basketball cards up there somewhere. Like up there with my 2K collection, I have like the Kobe Bryant stuff from NBA 2K17. That Kobe card is something physical that I can hold that I can't necessarily just go get from anywhere. I can't feel like I can own it unless I have that card. You know what I mean? Now, these moments, however, if it's a LeBron James dunk, or say whenever they release the nostalgia packs and it's Derrick Rose's game winner against the Cavaliers, I've seen that so many times on YouTube, and I feel like if I really wanted it on every device in my house, and I wanted it to look exactly like the moment, I could go do that in Premiere Pro. Then the counter argument is, oh, well, you can say the same thing about a false card in real life. People, let's give somebody the credit to say that they can go make a card that's like 99% the same as the real card, right? That's kind of like the parallel they make there, and they say it's like the same. But for me, I just can't accept that explanation, because the same LeBron dunk that went for 200,000, I don't know if you knew that one. This LeBron dunk, I believe, that sold for 200,000 on Bielitsa, like a week and a half ago. That same dunk, I've seen that video. I've seen it on my phone. I've seen it on my computer so many times before it was packed up into this nice moment and sold for that much. So I've never been able to, for some reason my brain is just on this search for the answer of, does anybody actually want these, or is it that people see, oh, well, if I can buy a $14 pack, I can almost instantly flip that to like 500 plus. I had a fan email me and say in 48 hours he ran an account up to $1,000 because he got a pack. And I found out myself, oh wait, yeah, no, that's actually very possible. If you can get one of these, it's very possible. And so I have a hard time, like me being the biggest basketball fan that I am at this specific moment. We'll see where the future of this goes, and I think you had a really good idea where you're saying if they can make like actual moments with like Curry and LeBron and have like stories behind it or something, like your own little memorial, right? For I don't know if memorial is the right word, but your own little tribute to like a cool moment and like a backstory. I could see that then. I could absolutely see like, oh, I actually want a collection of these. But as far as a collection where I look through, I go and click through, and there's a Fred VanVleet spinning layup that happened on December 12th, and it was at the 37th minute in the game. Yeah, cool, but the value of it to me is I just know somebody's buying it. And I don't know if I'm ever going to just want a collection that I can show the NBA Storyteller and say, hey, look at my collections. I think everyone sees dollar signs, and I'm okay with that. Hey, like I said, at the end of the week at some point, I'll be on the stream learning more about it. But I'm looking at it from a business perspective right now. That's where I'm at with it, and I don't know where it's going. I don't know how long it's going, and I don't know, like Jimmy High Roller brought up a good point in his video. He was saying somebody's going to eventually get stuck without somebody to sell the card to, because these prices, they don't have any rhyme or reason to them besides the serial number. If somebody gets the #1 serial number of a card, then yeah, they can price it, you know, like if you had like the first print of a real basketball card. Those prices are crazy. But for the rest of these, they just vary, and then there's finally a floor. But eventually, somebody's going to be stuck without a place to actually put this super expensive card that they bought. And then it's a digital video in their collection.
And that's the plot. That's the point right there, is that the thing that cards carried, which was, even if there's nobody to buy it, or there's no external value to it, the owners still cherish it for some reason or another. If they can somehow still satisfy that urge, that human urge to be like, this moment that you have, you still like it, you still care about it, even though nobody wants to buy it, then they've got something. But like you're saying, if we're all jaded to the point where we all get that it's about money and just it's a market, and it might as well be the latest, you know, it just might as well, it's just the latest way to manipulate money, and there's nothing there.
Right. Yeah. That's the, again, right now they're in beta. A lot of people don't know that. The Top Shot is in beta. So there's probably many more ways to go with this. The NBA does officially, I guess, own this or whatever. They own it or they back it up, whatever. They're the ones behind this. This is just some like random thing you saw at the beginning of a video that somebody's pumping out. No, this is like a legitimate thing. So there are ways that they can go to eventually, I guess, reach the question that I'm asking is, why would I want this officially, other than the fact that I get it off to somebody? Because yeah, that's just the thing, is if you told me that Kobe card that I have has 75, there's only 75 of those in the world, yeah, I want that. You told me that there's 75. Yeah, see, there we go. It's what you perceive. It's like the mind believes what the eye sees. Because I can see this card and you can show me the other 75 and I can say this is what exists in the world. Now, when you tell me that there are 75 prints of this legendary moment, because they do have them in tiers, and you can say, oh, this LeBron James dunk on Kevin Garnett is legendary, and the NBA only printed 75 of them. But then I can also go on YouTube and see that highlight anytime that I want without paying $10,000 for it. I guess that's where the disconnect is. It doesn't match up in my mind that there's only 75 prints, because I've been watching that. And I had it on my PSP when I was a kid. I had it on my PlayStation 3. I've had this already, I feel like, you know. So that's again, everything is only as real as we make it, I guess. But I think like you said, with the tribute moments, I think there's a way that they can go with it, and eventually maybe it's not just about tossing around money and finding the next person to sell to. But if there's a market for it, there's a market for it. We'll see where it goes. I do see routinely the prices of cards going down. Well, as they're doing drops,
Really?
Because, well, it's not like an overall thing like, oh, this whole thing is losing its value. Not in that way. You know, not in the sense that they're like all the cards are losing the value or anything like that. Like there's astronomical prices on there. Just that like there might be a Rudy Gobert moment, and then of course it's just natural in a market, right? Like a pack drops and more people have that Rudy Gobert moment, and the more people that get it, they're trying to get it off immediately. So the price goes down because somebody's just undercutting the lowest price to sell it, and that's how it's happening. But I just see it happening very frequently with pretty much every card that I come across. But it's, again, if you get your hand on like a legendary moment, some of these legendary moments, the lowest ask will be like $1,000 on there. So imagine you got a legendary moment in a pack that I guess at most you paid $199 for, and then you got that legendary moment for $199, and you go undercut somebody's $1,200 price for $1,100, and you like that. That's the appeal. That's the appeal of this right now. But we'll see what happens with Top Shot. I'm fascinated by it. For the audience, I will be on stream learning more about it and learning more about future plans, I guess. And I wanted to have that conversation because I did learn a little bit from Storyteller here, and I wanted the audience, because every time I post about it, the audience is like, yo, what is this? And I haven't looked at it, and why would anybody do this? But yeah, right now it's like Mr. Krabs, dollar signs. People see dollar signs at the moment. So that's Top Shot for us. that's what's going on at the moment. You had something? Or are you done?
Have you seen where one person will own the same moment, like 30 of the same moment?
I hadn't
I was
specifically
looking
been
around.
looking at the sales list and seen that, no, but I do. It's possible, obviously.
One of the first things I spotted was that there would be a block of serial numbers where they'd all be a certain price, and then one would be a lot lower. Just thinking, all they'd all be like, $100, $200, $300, and then one would be $75, just right in the middle of these numbers. I'm thinking, well, that's odd. And then you'd find out that one person owns all of those moments. It's basically baiting you into buying that one that seems to be a lot cheaper than the other ones. And that's when I was the first exposure into the hustle of it, which was okay. You're forcing me. You're manipulating me into thinking that this is a good price right here. Between serial number 100 and 130, when everything's $1,000, but this one is $200, right in the middle of it. But that one person owns all of them. It's just price manipulation, and I'm thinking, okay, there it is. That's the obvious part of it. Is if you can dominate, if you can own a lot of the same moment, you can control the price of it by placing the price really high, except for one of them, where everybody thinks it's a good deal at that particular serial number. It just felt that was the first layer pulled back for me, where it's like you could see this as just market manipulation, or a real place for collectors. And I mean, there's a place for finding obscure moments or players who aren't doing really, who don't have great audiences, and building stories. You build stories from your moments. Maybe there's value in selling stories, which is a collection of moments of an individual. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but I'm gonna be out there buying Markel Fultz moments until I build a Markel Fultz story, a career story. I'll sell the whole damn story.
Yeah, and that's the thing right now. If you're you could be looking for Markel Fultz and Manute Bol moments, and that could be your entry into this. Or if you don't get lucky and get some packs, as he's talking about with somebody controlling one moment, obviously that comes from somebody who has money like that. Because if you if you have money, then you can go in and buy this one for a couple thousand, and then you can really make some money then, because now you have all the expensive ones and you can control the price. But how many of us really have it like that, right? I think a lot of us are trying to get the crumbs of packs basically, and enter there. But yeah, I've seen some ridiculous account values from people who have access, and because they have access, they have the packs and they get cards, and they can run it up real quick. So yeah, there's business.
You got to assume that at this point that there's too many smart people, and there's too many smart people that who their only business is money, whether they're working in hedge funds or they're day traders or whatever it is. It's like their business is money, making money, and this is just another opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to know what there's probably out of the I don't know, 60, 70,000 people who are actively involved, maybe 1 million people who are actively involved, who are interested in this. How many of them? There's probably 5, 10 huge, financially backed individuals that are just whales in this situation, just cornering the market on things. And it could, who knows? There may be 3 people who own 90% of these things.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know how juiced it is or how manipulated it is.
Absolutely.
It could be really ugly. And we want it to be pure. We want it to be fans, people who actually care about this stuff, but it's probably not.
Yeah. At the moment, I would probably guarantee that it isn't. But they've got a ways to go, and if they find a way to make that average fan care about it, we'll see where it goes from there. Because then it becomes a thing that's around for a while. If there's actual fan that gets into this, like basketball trading cards, then obviously basketball cards have been around for however long, and so a lot of things are going digital. If Top Shot finds a way to capitalize on that, sure. But at the moment, there is a lot of disinterested parties that, like you said, it's an investment. It's a portfolio right now. It made Top Shot portfolio. Yeah, it made Top Shot portfolio.
I mean, we can go into this. This has been, it always goes long, right?
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Thing is, it's with basketball cards. There was a step between price or the money or the resale value. It was never just right in your face, immediately attached. And with the price and the ability to sell it right away being so accessible, that just becomes the only purpose.
Yeah.
Right away. And if they can't separate those things, if they can't just imagining the Justice League movies, pulling those mother boxes apart, if they can't separate those things with the individual value of owning a moment versus making money, then it's nothing. It might as well be.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like I said earlier, the prices don't have a rhyme or reason to it. So for it to be more accessible, I think that's two things. Not only just making people actually want these things with moments and things that actually back those moments, like a Curry high five and something that you feel like you actually own that isn't just anywhere else. Aside from that, like the prices do need to come down, because like a Patrick Beverley 3-point shot, will easily run you. Last time I checked, you can go $150 to $180. Just, he passed it to somebody, they passed it back, he shot a 3. Now, I guarantee you a Patrick Beverley card in real life is not running me $180. It's just not, unless it has something like piece of his jersey. There's just not a way. So that also, but hey, for some of these, they're coming down to earth. Like I'll see like a who was a Clint Capella. Yeah, you can get a Clint Capella for like $12, a common Clint Capella. So I'm seeing that more often. But when I first got on, it was like, holy shit. Like, that's when I really realized something crazy was going on, was when I saw the Patrick Beverley 3, Mr. 94 feet shooting 3-pointer, which I guess is rare. I guess it's a rare moment. I mean, Pat Bev, he's it's not super rare that he shoots threes, but that's not really his thing. And yeah, when I saw that, I was like, that's crazy. Well, either way, conversation on Top Shot has been great. I'm sure we'll probably end up with more conversations on it in the future. Of course, we ran long today. Jesus, we are at 2 hours, and I was exhausted when we came on, but we could have went even longer. I still have an entire page of topics here. I'll cross a couple off, and then we'll drag a lot of these to next week. So,
yeah, like a lightning round, just a quick way to blaze through some topics.
Yeah, no, not with these. Yeah, we would end up at like 4 hours. Basically, you got Steve Ballmer, Kevin Garnett, Steve Kerr. Like that alone is like another hour and a half, probably. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna start reading his book next. I'm gonna finish this Pete Maravich, and then I'll get on KG's book, because that's when I bring that topic up. When I'm a good way through that book, we'll bring up Kevin Garnett, because I know that's a good one for you. Well, I am gonna put this on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Oh yeah, I forgot to say it at the beginning. For those of you who watch the video version, we do this over Discord call, and for some reason, at some point, our lips the audio comes out of sync from our lips. It happens sometimes, and then I have to try to fix what I can, but there's blind spots. So if that bothers you a ton, the link in the comment section in the description will lead you to the Spotify and Apple Podcast. You can just leave this on while you're brushing your teeth or whatever. You do not have to stare at our faces for 2 hours, and the audio that just has a mind of its own. But I try to fix what I can. I made backups of audio today, so hopefully that problem won't be as bad. But either way, I appreciate you for all listening. Appreciate you being on the podcast again, and we will be back next week.